In this lecture, we are going to set our weather data array. So every time we receive information about every city in our user defaults and the current location, what we want to do is to save that information as a cityTempData, which, if you remember, it contains, let's jump to it, contains the city name and a temperature, so that whenever our user clicks on the plus button here and comes to our cell, our table view here, we want to display every cell with a city name and the current temperature. So this is the only way we are going to access our weather information and city name. And if we go to our get current weather information, this is the place where we receive all the information about our city name and about our current weather information. It's not the weekly or hourly weather because we want to display the current weather in that city. That's why we are using the get current weather function here. So after we refresh our data, we want to call another function that will take this current weather and generate this how it's called, cityTempData. So let's call this function. I'm going to say self dot generate weather list, and we're going to call this function, which doesn't exist yet, and we are going to write it together now. Now our compiler is complaining that we are calling a function that doesn't exist. So let's go at the bottom here. Before my class finish, I'm going to write this function, private func, and I'm copy pasting the name here. So what we want to do here, whenever we want to put something in our all weather data array, first I want to make it empty. So I will say all weather data is equals to empty array. So in case if we had any data in it, we want to delete it. So we don't have the same thing duplicate over and over, and our array will become bigger. So we want our weather data array to have the same amount of objects we have in our user defaults plus the current weather for the current location. So we empty our array in case if we had something there. Then we say for weather view, in our all weather views, so we go through every weather view we have, whichever every weather view is a separate city, and I'm going to say all weather data, which is our array, and then we say append, so we add one to our array, and here we need to generate a cityTempData. So if we open our model helpers here, cityTempData, I'm going to write one, so I get this nice initializer and I don't have to type it. Let's get back. And here we are going to append a cityTempData. Let me just write it this way so you can see clearly what's going on, and then we are going to make it a one-liner. So I will say temp data is equals to, and we create a cityTempData from our weather view. So we say weather view dot, and we access the current weather of our weather view, and our current weather has a city. And then for the temperature, again we have access our weather view dot current weather dot current temperature. So this way we create a cityData object, and I can pass this to my array. So I append it to my array. For every weather view, we will put one weather cityTempData to our array. So in order to make it shorter, I'm going to paste this code here and get rid of these lines from there. So we have only one line here taking care of all the required, let's see, cityTempData append, and this should work now. All right, so let's see where we need to call this. We actually did call this. So once we are done, what I want to do is print, and we say we have, let's see how many objects we have in all weather data. And let's, oh, we need to print count. And here, this is not something we need, it's just a typo there. Let's rerun our application. And where are we? Actually, we have, okay, we have 7 here, it prints, and we have a lot of these print statements, number of days, we need to get rid of them. So we clearly see that this is working and that we have our weather data list also available. So you can see that we have 7 prints number of times. So this function is being called every time we set current weather information. That's why if we didn't have a print emptying array here, and if I rerun, you would see that we have the printout would be, let's see, oh, I deleted the line. Print, we have all weather data.count, and let's run it. Now you see it added every time to the array, and in total we have 49, which is 7 times 7, because we had 7 locations, and we went through 7 times and we added, and in total now we have 49 objects, which is totally incorrect. That's why we are going to set it to empty array every time we call this function. Right, and what else we need to do is actually get rid of these print statements. So we have number of days 6. I will just find this and uncomment it because we no longer want to have all these unnecessary things in our console. And let's just rerun to see if we get rid of everything. This no weekly forecast or no result found is because we have these 2 locations that are actually without any data available. That's why we're getting this printout, so we need this information. Okay, what we want to do now to work on this transition, so the segue from this view to other view here, and what we need to pass to this view is our all weather data, so we can use this as a source file for our table view there.